Yes, for this choir and this music. Clearly, they're singing songs that sing to my heart, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ty and Celine, for the choices. There you are, okay. And I just have to say, Sylvia, I see you brought a new friend, and I was panicked that all of us were going to run towards you during that. I'm like, oh my God, this poor woman. So I'm so glad we didn't traumatize you. When you do church development and such, it's kind of a funny thing. And now that I'm a little bit more on the outside, my observations of the whys and the wherefores for doing things is it's different than it used to be. And what they say, if you want to grow your community, it shouldn't be so intimate. So that newcomers coming in don't feel like you're a clique. Because from the outside looking in, you're just being you, right? You're loving on each other. But they see it, newcomers see it as a clique. So it's this fine line, and it's not an easy line when you're madly in love with each other and you've been doing this together for 20 some odd years. It's difficult not to say, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you, Dina. You know, it's so difficult to do that. So that's why I was particularly sensitive when that happened. Celine and Jean saw my face. I'm like, oh my God! So welcome anyway. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Lower the microphone. There you go. Okay. So Ernest Holmes said, we are here in heaven right now. This is the meaning of life and of Easter, and our relationship to God, and of the youth and the old man, and of birth and of death. It is the drama that takes place in an eternal existence in which there is nothing to be afraid of but our own thoughts. Nothing to be afraid of but our own thoughts. And I hallelujah to this community that has been willing to embrace that. This community is one that has been willing to embrace responsibility to different degrees, I get it. But thank God for that, because I've witnessed what it's like in places where this conversation around responsibility is not well embraced. And it's a whole different feel. And let me be clear, if you're hearing this for the first time, with responsibility, I do not mean blame or fault. I mean just, oh, I'm part of this. As simple as that. 22 years ago, I replaced Easter with the Phoenix experience, the shedding, which Tony did last week. Thank you for that, Tony. And with Phoenix Rising, I did that for two reasons. While Science Mind is a watered down, that's not very polite, but it's a watered down version of Christianity. And in some places you could go, you would see Easter, you would see the processional in the more classic ways, although the organization is moving more away from that at large, for sure. And the largest section of our textbook, I don't know where to look, at the choir, because you're half the audience or not. The largest section in our textbook is on Jesus. Have y'all noticed that? Which is kind of like leaves your head scratching a little bit. And you probably think that because as the minister who was here for all these years, I didn't really do that much Jesus. But the reason why I did that is that I wanted a language that allowed Jews to feel welcome, that allowed atheists to feel welcome, that allowed Muslims to feel welcome. I didn't want a language, and I didn't want to be part of a language that when somebody walked in here, they couldn't see themselves. So for me, what I'm always searching for is the thing that's underneath, the message that's inclusive. It's like, Jesus as a dude was pretty cool. If he was really a he and he walked this earth, and what he stood for. And as Neil always liked to say, if Christians actually practice Christianity, this would be a good place. Because we see a lot of that not happening. Right. We see condemnation. The South, the Bible Belt, right? How did they allow racism? I'm just like that. Just alone. That's like alone is just something like how did we allow that? So for me, that's one of the reasons why I released Easter and embraced the phoenix shedding and rising. And the other reason is I didn't want to promote anything that had you think there was a power outside of you.
Yes.
I didn't want to be part of a teaching that you needed a mediator. Nothing between you and spirit. Nothing between you and your source, between you and your power. I'm just presenting the word. I'm clear. I'm not any of those things. But I wanted language that kept you right up against, immersed in, and surrendered to the intelligence. And oh my God, this book, the Physics of God that we are studying, it is clear we are classically immersed and absorbed in this essence of intelligence that can be labeled by many things. And I'm going to do something I didn't do, that I neglected to do. My pronouns are her, she and her. My lineage is English, Irish, German, and a teeny bit Scottish. And let's honor the fact that we are on Ramapo land, and specifically the Lenape Native Americans on this land. Okay? I just want to make sure I do that each time. Today's honoring Transgender Day. Yeah, when are we going to get a little more colorful around here? Life is always interesting when we're not the same. You notice that? Aren't we more interesting because of all of our diversity? It's such a beautiful thing. So, this center is the evidence of me not speaking to one of those separate subjects. At least I believe that to be so. I believe you found yourself here because you felt welcomed being just you, without, and still being able to keep your Christianity and Catholicism. You were never had to make a choice. If I'm doing my job right, you will never make a choice, or not my job anymore, but you know what I mean. To live the life that we are ordained to be, we must rise up by right of consciousness. That's what we're here to do. I mean, my life could have been a complete disaster if it wasn't for metaphysics. I was, last weekend I was up north? Last weekend I was in Rhode Island doing a Friday, all day Saturday workshop, and then Sunday talk. And my host, lovely host, oh my God, she was just fantastic, who took care of me for the weekend, and I stayed in her home. Well, Friday night, we started just sitting and chatting, and I started telling her some stories about my life. And she was doubled over laughing. Not because the stories were that funny, and not because I'm that funny. I'm not funny. But, how absurd. Like the fact that I'm not on the floor, huddled in a fetal position, sucking my thumb, is because of this teaching. Because while I was going through stuff, and while I was being a sinner, anybody else here a sinner? No. Fess up, come on! We're all sinners, because what does sinner mean? It means mistake. It's a mistake. I don't know anybody who doesn't make mistakes. And so, so if it wasn't for this, I have no idea. She was absolutely hysterical. It's like I was making things up. And most of these stories are disasters, horrible, awful things. But my life is a testament to being willing to take responsible even for the not so good. I need to repeat that over and over wherever I go, because it is one of the secrets. It's the secret to being able to own what is. And that's the other thing I'm very proud of this community for. And Tony, you do this really well. We don't hide behind the rainbows and butterflies. We're willing to look at life. We're willing to look at the underbelly. We're willing to look at the tough stuff and then rise up. See, because if you're here and you want to get here, wherever this is for you, and wherever you want to go, whatever that is, to get here, If you try to go direct without going first down through the stuff, through the transformation, through some of the pain, through some of the healing, if you try to go directly, that is classic spiritual bypass. Classic. But what I'm so proud of in this specific organization is you don't run from those hard conversations. It's a beautiful thing about you. It's a beautiful thing about who we've been for all these years. So the other night my son said to me, you know, I don't think you guys, you too, but my husband and, you know, his dad, Bill, he says, I don't think your life is all that great. I said, that's because you don't know what I came from. Because I don't sit around telling him those stories that had my friend fried. He doesn't know that I crawled out of a hole. He doesn't know that I started out just one rung above the white trash. See, if you knew me then, you'd go, holy shit! Look at her! That's what you'd say. You'd be amazed. You'd be thinking I was a walking miracle. But when we see somebody afterwards, we're like, oh, they're a really nice person. But we don't know the pain that someone's been through. We don't know what it took for you to get here. We don't know what it takes for you to get dressed and walk into a room. We don't know that about each other. So that's where compassion comes in, because compassion says, I don't really have to know your suffering. I'm just going to lend a hand anyway. I'm not going to wait to understand. Because if compassion requires the story, you're waiting too long. You get that? Mm-hmm. Compassion should not require you really understanding. So I told him what was so. And the truth is everything, the mistakes. Yeah, kids. What's the matter with these kids today, right? What, remember Bye Bye Birdie?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm old. I'm officially old.
Sing it, Ty.
What?
Sing it, Ty.
No, not yet. It happens to be one of my favorite movies ever. So go ahead.
Oh, really? Margaret, Aunt Margaret. Man, I loved her. She reminded me of one of my wild sisters. So the things that are in the way, I remember, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. One time I wrote a blog years ago, and I wrote a blog, and the blog implied rolling away the stone metaphorically. And boy, did someone give me the what for, because they didn't like I used that metaphor. I'm like, okay. But the truth is, we go into a cave, some of us, to regulate our body, to meditate, to pray. Going into a cave implies that sacred, sweet, and safe place, right? You know what I'm talking about? But some of us also go into a cave to hide. Right? You go to hide. When things are rough, you run, you close off, you avoid people, you avoid situations. They're both a cave. What's the difference, though? What you name it. What you name it. So the challenges in our lives can either be the blocks that block us from the good, or we get to make them into stepping stones that allow us to move forward. What's the difference? What we name it. You must, we must, I must claim and declare the direction and call it good. Always call it good. I know that sounds contrary to maybe what your experience is. But calling something good while it's hard is the quickest way for it not to be hard. You get that? Yes. Calling something good while it's hard is the quickest way to transform it to being good. It takes our conscious participation. As Holmes said, there's nothing to be afraid of but our own thoughts. And I know that sounds very simplistic sometimes, but if we just think of it like this, we just think of it as when that our thoughts, and if you don't think of them as all that powerful, but as you focus on something and it gets your attention, it causes you to drive yourself in a certain direction. Just like when you're driving a car. You don't look in the rear view mirror when you're driving your car. You don't look at the side view mirrors when you're in your car. You probably are just looking forward, and you probably have a GPS telling you where to go, which is, not what we used to do. But there, I'm choosing to move in this direction. And our declarations help us. It's like putting the address in the GPS. What if we had an internal human GPS that said, I want to move to a glorious life? Put that in the GPS, wow. Glorious life. What if in the GPS you could put, this is my year of full out success. This is the year I travel the world. And you just put that in your GPS and you feed that and think that and feel that and let that drive you to your destination. The reason, too, for consciously moving the stone away and for consciously rising up out of the ashes is so that we just live the life of joy. It's okay to manifest things. It's okay to want things. It's okay. But a life of joy. Because in the end, folks, those of us oldest in the room, you stop wanting things and you start just wanting love. All I want is the time with my grandchildren, with my sons, with my husband. All I want is peace and joy. If I get the other stuff, hallelujah. But all I want is as I get older, I want less. I want greater experiences, more love, more laughter. But I don't really have a list anymore of things I want to do and things I want to accomplish. Not in that way. I do want to bring what is my passion to the world. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. But I got to be happy. I got to be honest. When I'm home and the grandkids are there and there's full out chaos, and for like St. Patty's Day, I made this big meal and the kids were over and it was a full out chaos, and Lila was dancing the Irish step dancing in the middle of the room. I have a tiny little living room. My entire house would fit into the sanctuary, like up and down. Like it's not a big house. And there we were, just scrunched around, shoulder to shoulder. And that, to me, is joy. That, to me, is joy. Your joy probably looks different than my joy. So, our job is to accept our divine, our absolute divine birthright. And your birthright and my birthright aren't the same. But that we were born with a birthright to embrace the possibility of our lives, the full out, fully expressed possibility of our lives. And so we roll the stone away, or we rise up out of the ashes. Either metaphor, works at any moment. It's not just Easter. It could be next Wednesday at 2 in the afternoon. There's no time for your revelation. There's no one right time for your transformation. There's no one right time. And I don't remember the Jewish traditions. What's the one with the Day of Atonement? Is that Yom Kippur? Sorry? Nobody knows clearly. It is Yom Kippur, it is. Thank you. Okay. Like, what a beautiful day. But that could be any day. The Day of Atonement for each of us could be any day, any moment. Let us not think that we have to wait for that particular day. And so there's a little story, I've told this many times, but I'm telling it again now because we're about to sing a song. And it's the song Amazing Grace. And if you don't know the story, it's an important story to know. It's a very important, it's important to set this up right. Although, I don't know about you, when I sing it, I was never even a Christian of any kind, but somehow I hear that song, my whole body starts to feel this sense of connection with generations upon generations of people who have been singing it. And that's the song Amazing Grace. And if you don't know it, who knows the story? Oh, a few. Okay. So the story, there was this man, he was a self-righteous man who brought human cargo across the land. He was not a good man. And something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened that one day he had a moment of seeing himself and a moment of being moved, and realized his sin. Now, he was still a businessman. I would like to tell you he did not deliver that human cargo, but he did. And then he never did it again. That man, in some fashion, repented. And this man who is involved in this stuff, he wrote the song Amazing Grace. And Amazing Grace, at the heart of it, is for each one of us to declare that we are not living at the mercy of what was. We're not. I mean, we can, but we don't have to. So I'd like you, if you will, as Ty and the band bring this song alive. We changed the words a tiny bit. You're not a wretch. We changed it to soul like me, changed a couple of other little things. Because we're not wretches. Anybody here wretches? Sometimes, maybe? Come. See, I love that about us. You know who you are. So find the song in yourself, if you will, okay? As they begin to sing.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my soul relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. When we have been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no rest days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Let's go from the beginning. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved the soul, that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, I see.
So today, I rise up out of the ashes by right of consciousness to stand for unconditional love, freedom, and relenting joy for all humankind. I do this as I hold the hand of my brother Joe.
I rise up out of the ashes by right of consciousness to stand for unconditional love, freedom, peace, and harmony for all humankind.
Today, I rise up out of the ashes by right of consciousness and stand for unconditional love, freedom, and hope as the light that must never be extinguished.
Today, I rise up out of ashes by rights of consciousness to stand for unconditional love, freedom, love, peace, and justice for the world.
Today I rise up out of ashes by right of consciousness to stand for unconditional love, freedom, and forgiveness of myself and others.
Today, I rise up out of the ashes by right of consciousness to stand for unconditional love, freedom, and the redemption of the hearts of humanity.
Today, I rise up out of the ashes by right of consciousness to stand for unconditional love, freedom, and God as me.
So I invite each one of you to know for yourself right now, what are you rising up out of? What are you declaring? What are you willing to stand for with your beautiful brothers and sisters in consciousness, your family of consciousness, of any gender, of any form of any gender, it no longer matters. And so just get present to that in this moment. Feel into it. And when you're ready, if you will, speak it into the room aloud. That's the audience. Speak your truth. What do you stand for? Let us hear your voices. Forgiveness.
One with all the compassion,
Healing,
unity, wholeness,
spirit,
Yes. 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 Yes.
understanding,
Yes. Yes.
beauty,
Joy.
nature,
Empathy.
action.
And those of you at home, put it in the chat. Please hold the hand of people next to you. If you have to move, please hold hands. Just let yourself be connected. Feel the vibration of love that's already been activated. Feel the energy flowing through you. And as I speak this word, call in, not out loud, call into this vibration, not the room. We don't have to be arrogant to think this is the only place it can happen. Call forth the vibration of love and call individuals into this vibration. Call forth the intelligent choices of self-empowerment and justice and wholeness, and invite individuals into that love and that rhythm of life. Let us expand this vibration. Think about your family, think about your neighbors, think about those who challenge you, think about the planet, think about this country, think about the politics, and call it all into this vibration, into this circle of possibility. Again, let us be the change. And if you are willing to embrace the ordination of life upon you, if you're willing to embrace yourself as a leader, as a minister, then just speak a yes into the room.
Yes.
And you will know what to do when the time is right. Because the God-ordained intuition will guide you. May you love yourself like you've never loved yourself before. May you forgive yourself where necessary. And may you just walk in joy in all moments. Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah. Oh, with great faith and conviction, I surrender this word. And so it is. So it is.
There's a feeling of expansion in my chest. There's a knowing that this day will be my best. There's a quietness that speaks above the rest. It's spirit rising. There's a rumble in the earth beneath my feet. There's a knowing that I'm perfect and complete. There's a light in me that darkness can't defeat. It's spirit rising. Untied and ties that bind you, let spirit just unwind you. Let the light remind you of who you are. Surrender to the feeling. Spirit is revealing. Freedom has no ceiling. Yes, you'll go far. You'll go far. You'll go far. There's a tingle in the space around my heart. There's connection to this world that I'm a part. There's a world that my new life's about to start. It's spirit rising. A joy that my new life's about to start. Spirit rising. Rising. Rising, 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 spirit rising in me, lifting me up, setting me free. Yes, spirit rising in me, lifting me up, setting me free. Yes, spirit. Get out of your seats. me.